Okay. So my childhood was challenging childhood, to say the least. My father was an alcoholic, and pretty much led the family through fear, including my mother. And both from an emotional and from a physical abuse perspective. And even in school, my early recollection of school, there was always the class bully that apparently I was the victim of for 7 years. And the teachers around there was a couple of teachers within the 7 years that were good, the rest of them not so much. And the shame and ridicule that I experienced during the schooling and at home very early on in my life could have shaped me. And indeed, to be fair, did shape me for a very long time until I had the counselling, I guess, and the professionals to help me through what I'd experienced. And, and I come through, 40 years later, and I find myself sitting in Christchurch, and I've got a wonderful family, a beautiful wife, and my own business. And would I've ever imagined that as a teenager in a high school back in Scotland? Hell no. But one of the main motivators, I guess, for me to get here, or I guess attitudes around my own life, is the fact that I rebelled against everything that I was ever brought up with that wasn't healthy. And I was determined to leave the place that I was brought up in and make it on my own and buy my own house. My parents lived in a state house. To make it in whatever career I chose, rather than just staying at the low end of the job market and barely scrape a living together. I did vow never to be married and have children, because why would I replicate what I experienced as a child? But later years, when I met my wife, that all changed, which for the good, and with a lot of counselling, I was able to push past that. And that's the fundamental reason that drives me nowadays, is why should anybody have to put up with the emotional and physical trauma, bullying that as a kid I had to endure, and as an adult in my early career I had to endure. Because not only did I have a father that was like that as a child, I had an area manager like that in my first career that also carried on that mantle. And it would have been very easy for me to have just followed and conformed with what how they treated me, and then I could have repeated that cycle. But it didn't feel right. Inherently it was wrong. I knew that. I was just struggling to figure out a different way. And that has led to where I am today, doing the research, understanding more about how the mind works, and knowing how people come together and what drives them apart. And now, I just want to help others overcome that, overcome the scenarios where they are feeling bullied and feeling under pressure, feeling threatened. Because to be fair, no family should have that going on within them, and indeed no workplace should ever have that going on within them as well. And when leaders, whether it's the parents of a family or the leaders in a workplace, when they understand what's going on and why that happens, it allows them to, it gives them hope and gives them knowledge to be able to change that. And that's what's driving me nowadays. That's what's driving me as an adult, and that's the change that I want to make in this world.